Well, good day, one and all. Welcome back to the channel. And today we kick off the Transformers Kingdom with a kapow, a kablam, and a zowie when we look at the deluxe class Warpath and how it compares to the earlier generations Warpath. That's going to be our focus this time around in the latest GotBot True Review. Hey all, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, your most humble of hosts, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, man, please like, comment, share, of course, subscribe while you're at it. Light them up, baby. Hit that notification bell, please. It helps me out a ton. It lets you know when content of all sorts goes up here on the channel. Check out all of the groups that I am a mod or an admin for. All those links are in the description. Have a look at all of my social media. All of those links are there in the description as well. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon. See what we offer to you through Teespring, or of course you can hit the join button right here on the channel, right here on YouTube, and become a channel member. And I will mention this now. I got this locally from a comic store, a local comic store called Time Masters. I'm going to leave a couple of links for them as well down in the description. Got this guy for significantly less than the going retail, and that's the way I'm going to measure him by. I think it's fair to say that for regular retail, what it's going to be here in Canada, it's a little iffy here. But for what I paid, he is definitely worth it. I'm no spoilers, but like, he's definitely worth it. I'm not going to lie. But though I'm saying that, is he as good or better than the generations? Because this, for a long time, man, has been the measuring stick. This is a tremendous offering in and of itself. How do they compare? Well, we're about to find out when we head over to the table and take a closer look at this guy. So as I ever endeavor to try and be part of the cool crowd, I kick off the kingdom with a kablam, and that, of course, is this guy, Warpath. This is the one only Kingdom release that has shown up as of this recording in my neck of the woods. We are so incredibly far behind, but this is an interesting one to be sure. I am very, very happy to be able to say that this guy has positively surprised me. There's a couple of things that aren't positive surprises, but generally I have been looking to compare this guy to the earlier generations whom I adore. We're going to talk about that in just a little bit, but I'm far more impressed with this guy than I thought I was going to be. Before we do anything though, we have to quickly actually talk about the packaging first. And so here we have the packaging. And not long ago, it was highly discussed that in trying to cut down on the usage of plastics, that we were going to see a lot more cardboard with the packaging. And a lot of people, myself included, got kind of frightened and said, whoa, are we going to have the boring type of sealed in packaging of, for example, selects where you can't even see what's inside? That does cause problems and issues. I know a guy, shout out to Adam, who got a bug bite and opened it up, and the entire back end of the whole car mode was not there. Had you been able to see in package, you probably would have avoided that one, saying, oh, that one is missing something. So there were concerns about that. They've tried to kind of balance it a bit here. Whether it's successful or not is a different story. Naturally, there's a couple of things I like, a couple of things I don't like. I love the artwork. Both the robot mode over here and the tank mode down here, beautiful. I love the colors on it, the look of it. We have the artwork over here that is typical with the golden disc, I think, in the background there. And of course we have the product images on the back, as is often the case with this stuff. What's different? Well, the first thing that's different is that we have a smaller screen on the front. I don't like that. You're not seeing as much of what's inside. I would like for them to retain the screen on the front where you could see the entirety of what it is you're buying. We've become very accustomed to that. Honestly, I never had a problem with the blister packages, to be honest with you, that we used for years and years. I've never really needed all these boxes, but that's just me. What I do like, however, is that inside, we no longer have the old plastic tray. A lot of people have seen this by now. We do have this insert, and it's nice enough and whatnot, but we do have this insert. Of course, we have the card over on the back. I will also point out now that the red shoulder shield thing that is used in tank mode as well, very easy to throw away. Super easy to throw away because it's down here behind. So if you open yours and you're like, hey, it's missing a part, it's supposed to have that piece, it's down behind. It would be super easy. If you're somebody like me who just recycles those boxes, then it'd be super easy to throw it out. He also comes with these snazzy instructions. I don't see any stats this time around. Over here it tells you to put the thing on his shoulder, but I put it in a different location myself. But they're pretty good. The green is fine. It still shows things up. A couple of things could be a little clearer here, but honestly these are pretty respectable instructions. It's been a hot minute since we've seen the ever popular collector cards. This one is Optimus Prime, and when you peel down the hologram part, it's dead Prime. That's a dark card, man. And of course on the back we have the golden disc. And so yes indeed, finally here we have the bot of the hour, if you will. And because I love the Generations one so much, I really didn't have any designs on getting this guy, but man, there's a lot of things here that surprised me, and in a positive way. I'm not going to say quite everything, but a lot of things. We're going to stand the guy up first, and as you can see, he does have quite the range of articulation. Okay, so here we have him stood up, and I like, he looks the silhouette for the most part. I would venture to say to you, in terms of looks, he kind of mostly nails it. Before we kind of go on and start any of the grades or anything, I do want to note that his arm shield thing, I personally use this peg hole on the back, and while it can't go in with this piece facing down because it won't fit, it can go with it kind of up behind his head. I wasn't a huge fan of it being on his shoulder. Now, I mean, you could put it there, you could put it on his forearm if you want. I suppose you could put it on the bottom of his foot if you want. But like, as like a ski. But I'm cool with it on his back. I have no problem with it back right there. It doesn't really cause a backpack or anything, and it hides away nicely. Other options? A fashionable shoulder accessory. Forearm and fist cover for those times that you want to punch Decepticons or give them a European uppercut and not hurt your arm or your knuckles. And even as some sort of weird ski boot thingy. Alright, okay, enough goofing around. This is why we're here. This is the comparison that matters. Generations versus the new Kingdom Warpath. I looked at the Generations Warpath back in episode 99, just before I looked at Primus, if I'm not mistaken. I love this guy, I really do. In terms of looks, I said that the Generations Warpath was a 9. Like, he had all of the cues. He had the head with the mask. He has the chest cannon thing. He has the color mostly right, but there is stylization to the silhouette, there's no doubt about it. Undoubtedly, the Kingdom is closer to the original G1 animation. Undoubtedly. And covered in paint, which we're going to talk about in just a few minutes. I did add an Autobot logo to his tummy, because he was missing that. There's supposed to be red up there, an Autobot symbol. Easy enough to add. The only thing that really I could fault here is that I don't understand why the eyes are like this black soulless void rather than being blue like they should be. Otherwise, the guy's pretty close on perfect. The only other thing that I would change is I would come here and extend the barrel on his chest just a little bit, because the barrel was a little bit longer, but you know what, that's up to you on how big or small you want that chest to be. I'm going to say he's a 9.9. Not perfect because the tummy needed that red and because the eyes aren't blue, but it's about as perfect of a Warpath as you're going to get. And in all honesty, the reason I give it that high is because of the sheer amount of paint on the guy. See what I mean about those eyes? So what do I mean when I say slathered with paint? Okay, so The paint that's on the treads and down here, or I guess the color that's on the treads on his arm and his feet, all paint. The reddish color that's down on his feet, all paint. On the shin, all paint. Not on the hips or the thighs. On the forearm, all paint. On the upper arm, on the front and the side, it's paint, but it's a red paint on red plastic. I think it's just done so that the entire arm matches, because when you see the red plastic and the red paint, it's ever so slightly different of a shade. Probably not even noticeable on camera, but noticeable in person. Ever so slightly. I mean, it's not sunstreak or anything. The entire kind of chest section here, all of this turret, barrel, whatever you want to call it, all that's paint. And the parts forming piece on the back, also paint. I mean, the guy's covered in 9.9. What about the articulation? Well, the articulation of the Generations, I said, was about an 8.5. The guy didn't have a waist, he didn't have a wrist rotation, and while the hips gave you all the range you'd want, they didn't open up all the way to do full splits. But whatever you kind of wanted to be able to do with the guy, you could pretty much do. I don't think he had an ankle tilt either. This guy, he has a head that goes left, right, and kind of goes up and down a little bit. Arms can go all the way out to the side. They can go all the way around. Bicep swivel, 90-degree elbow, wrist rotation. We do now this time have a waist. Mine is super duper tight, but it's there. We have a back flap in package. My back flap here was off. I had to put it back on, and it likes to pop right off. Super duper easy. I'm just going to take that piece off. Super duper easy. It likes to pop off. There were other ones there that I could have picked, but for the sake of other local collectors, I bit the bullet and took the one that had the rattle inside the package. And it doesn't bother me in the least. I left kind of the other ones there for some local collectors that I know. By the way, that whole back piece here, while all out here is paint, in here it's not, and it's red plastic. And we have red paint on it. Again, it was just for the color match. That's brilliant. If I didn't say it, the arms can go all the way around. The legs can go back a fair amount. If you get this, I guess, up out of the... See, mine just pops off a lot. But if you lift that up out of the way, still can't go back all the way, but they can go back pretty darn far. They can go all the way forward. In terms of doing the splits, the guy can do full splits. We have thigh rotation. It's a mushroom built up in the thigh. I like that. I like doing business like that. Hinge at the hip and then a mushroom in the thigh. Really, really dig that. Knee, little under 90 degrees. That's slightly disappointing. It's like 88, 89 degrees. Like it's all 87 maybe. It's almost there, but it's not quite there. We have an ankle tilt, but if you tilt it too far, then it really kind of, at least on my copy, really has to kind of click to go back in. Like, that's about as far as I'm comfortable doing it. But I mean, I just done it too far then. Did you hear that click? Because I've done it too far. Like, that's about as far as the ankle tilt I think I'm comfortable with doing on mine. And I guess this extends if you wanted to. The guy doesn't come with like a blaster accessory or anything, but I mean, come on, like his chest is a blaster accessory, right? I'm going to say that articulation for the guy, I don't know if there's anything at all else I could want. I'm going to have to say 10 for articulation. So with a 9.9 and a 10, the guy is about as close to perfect as you could want at this point. What about the transformation? Well, I love the transformation of the Generations. I think it's super duper intuitive, super duper easy, but everything moves. I scored it at a 9. It's fantastic. What about here? There's things I like, there's things I really, really don't like that are kind of... Actually, there's one thing I really don't like that is super fiddly. I hope I don't encounter it here, but we'll see. So we begin by extending that chest piece out. We come to the side, we straighten out the arms, and we flip up the treads. There is a peg and a peg hole for the treads. There's a peg on the back of the bicep and a peg, or I guess it's on the tricep, and a peg hole. When we have this done, we can flip the whole thing down. Now there is a flap back here. Out of package, that flap was off mine. It was not on him. I had to put it on. It was rattling around the package. for the sake of other collectors, I took the bullet and took the rattling piece and left the ones that weren't rattling for other people to get. If something was wrong, I'd rather encounter it than someone else. We come up here, and I find the best thing to do is turn the turret to the side. This flap has to come up through this hole, and it's not, on mine, the easiest thing. It came up there. It does like to pop off of that friction hinge a lot. So we're going to hope that it doesn't happen this time. There's a little nub there that you can use to pick out this flap, and then this whole thing should come down like that. Woo, baby, we actually got it in. Congratulations to me. We open this, or turn this around, we open up the back here, we can flip in the head and we can close that up. And now you have half the tank. I don't know if this would count as like a girl walk mode or not. I have no idea, but like it's a walking tankish type of mode thing, sorta, kinda. Okay, so with the feet now, we open out the back heel and we open out the back heel. And this is where things get interesting. I'm actually gonna put these arms down for a minute. We need to like unfurl the whole leg. I find the easiest way to do it is like this. Turn so we have the inner thigh kind of facing out, and then begin to open up the leg. And then continue that all the way, and then turn it this way around. Then you can flip up, assuming you have this all out, flip up that piece, and then, I don't know if I can show this, I'm gonna try, it's so hard to show this. Then this whole kind of leg piece here should flip to the inside like that. It's wild what's done here with the legs. Really, really wild what's done with the legs. So, again, thigh, open out, open rest of the way, rotate the thigh the rest of the way around, flip this piece up, and then this whole shin calf piece, it folds all the way in behind like that. The foot, oh, actually before we fold that in, the foot needs to come up. Then that folds in on the side. My mistake. I got ahead of myself and a little overzealous. The foot needs to come up. Then we fold that in on the side. Now we should be able to tab together. Should be able to bring up the legs and tab them together like that. The arm comes up, the hand goes in behind the track, so you might have to open it out ever so slightly. Same over here, you might have to open the legs ever so slight. That was more than I wanted to open the legs, and it's still not going in there correctly. There. You gotta line up the treads on the side. Over here, same sort of thing. You gotta line up the treads on the side. And now, if the front came apart here, reattach all of that. You gotta squeeze everything together there, and boom, in the end, here you have him in his tank mode. Kind of. So why do I say kind of in this mode? He rolls great, the turret, it can move, and this goes up and down. However, a lot of people will note that these legs don't stay tabbed together at all if you don't include this piece. Like if you were to lose that piece, for example. Mine does. Like if I shake him, his legs stay together fine. Now there is an unsightly gap right there. And there are two rectangular little tabs down here for that to go in. But before I put that on, I just wanted to note that, yeah, you know what? I think he's fine. He still rolls fine. It's solid even without that piece. So if you were to break it or lose it, fret not. If yours is tolerant to anything like mine, you should still be fine. As for this piece, it should just come down underneath here. And hopefully we can just tab it in super duper easy here. There. And we tab it in, and now we don't have that unsightly gap on the front, but it's easy to install. Here he is with his Generations counterpart, and while I love this, I really, really do love this guy. Starscream Wife summed it up best when she looked at the Kingdom one and said, that looks like a tank I know. This other one looks like a space tank. Obviously not familiar with an H-tank formation, so I get it. In terms of G1 accuracy, and in terms of kind of accuracy to the alt mode, the Kingdom takes it hands down. The transformation, that back flap can be fiddly. Outside of that, the rest of it is pretty intuitive and pretty interesting. The way the legs are done is bonkers, but so cool, and after doing it a couple of times, it becomes second nature. I'm going to say that the transformation honestly is a 10. The guy overall, the Kingdom, is easily like a 9.99. It is about as close to perfect as you could want. Here he is also with Siege Ironhide and Earthrise Blue Streak. Yeah, I mean, you can see here that, like, I guess he scales just fine, you know? Why not? Yeah. So final analysis. He's tremendous across the board. I do think that it's a little hard to kind of justify a higher MSRP for him. I got him, like I said, for significantly less, and I could totally justify that. The quality is there, and this is one of those cases where even for a little bit of a higher price, I kind of get it because of the extra engineering, because of the super amount of paint. Even if he's a bit smaller, I see where the value is. But with another kind of price increase kind of recently happening, because I think this guy in the US is $22.99. I think. I could be wrong about that. I feel like he's more like $18.99, $19.99. And that $22.99 is just slightly above where he is for his size. But if you got the extra scratch or you find the guy on sale, he is 100% worth the pickup. And here we are once again, and here both of these guys are. Warpath is lucky. Granted, a few years ago, I think maybe during Combiner Wars, we had that Legends Warpath that came from a Megatron mold, and like his chest cannon was on his arm. It wasn't right. And I skipped that one, and I stuck with the Generations, and I said then, even though that this was bigger than he should be, it's so good, and it's still so good, but this guy is a bit better. The look is definitely more G1 accurate. The articulation, a little bit better. The range of, like all of them, they kind of have the same joints, except this guy also has a waist, he also has a wrist, and the range of motion is better. So he wins. Objectively speaking, he wins. The transformation on both is very clever. There are similarities. The way the legs unfurl, similar. Probably a bit more simplistic on this one than on this one. The arms are more involved on this one than this one. I like this. I just wish that that one flap on the back wasn't as precarious as what it is. If that wasn't as precarious as it was, I think the transformation would be a perfect 10. But that is a little bit of a nuisance, at least on my copy. This guy is excellent. He is one that I thought was going to be all right. That I can honestly say, no, you know what, pictures, what the rest of us say doesn't do justice. Gotta have the guy in hand. The only fault I could give him at all would be that the size is a bit smaller than I would like. But he has some of, if not among the best paint, like most applied, that's what I'm looking for, like the most paint, that I think any offering in the entire War for Cybertron trilogy has had. This is an excellent Warpath. Maybe a definitive Warpath, and he will stand proudly among my mini-bots as Warpath. Let me know what you think about this guy. I appreciate you guys coming by and giving me some of your extremely valuable time. I do know, man, how important it is to you. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon, see what we offer to you through Teespring, or of course, hit the join button right here on YouTube. Become a channel member. While you're at it, hit the subscribe button. Stick around, have some fun with us. Don't forget that somehow, someway, each and every single solitary day, man, you do make a difference. And I look forward, baby, to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit, either in the live streams on Thursday nights at the stop motion premieres or the old-fashioned way, baby, right here inside the videos.